Howdy everyone, it's Sam. I hope you're doing really well. If you're new around here, I hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you so much for the continuous support. The first trial is out of the way. North Queensland winning 24 points to 12 in a sloppy affair up in a very humid atmosphere up there in Cairns inside Barlow Park. This game was second string versus third string, and it wasn't going to be a third string for South Sydney. Blake Taaffe, Lachlan Ilias, they were late withdrawals, not through injury, but they are getting ready for the Charity Shield match next weekend against the St. George Illawarra Dragons. There are 3 points that I want to touch on before I start talking about the actual performance. The first of which is the referee. I thought the referee was pretty solid, and I thought the bunker did a very good job tonight as well. There was an instance where the referee, Todd Smith, I believe his name is, just inside the final minute of the game, there was a gentleman from South Sydney who was suffering from cramp, and the trainer put his hand up and said, "Oi ref, can you stop play?" And Todd Smith remembered that cramp is not going to have time stopped for, but time had to stop eventually because he was so close to where the error did take place. But I thought that was a really good sign from the young referee to continue the clock counting down instead of stopping time for a cramp that might have been way upfield or even 15 meters down the track. There was also a challenge from the North Queensland Cowboys that proved to be unsuccessful, but I'm happy for it to be unsuccessful. So Ben Condon challenged a stripping rule, and it went up to the bunker, and the bunker said, "Look, you didn't use your hands to strip the ball from the Rabbitohs player, but you did use your knee." Now, I'm happy for that to still be a sort of a strip penalty or a ball bump from the knee penalty. So let's hope for some consistency in that department, but I'm happy for that to be blown a penalty if that's the way of the law for the rest of the season. And the other instance I want to bring up is the sin binning as well. Now, it occurred onto Jake Burke. I can't remember what the gentleman's name was from South Sydney that got sin binned, but they did indicate before these trials kicked off, and a couple of weeks ago, if not a month or two ago, that they were going to crack down on players hitting other players late and high and ferociously. And that's what happened when Jake Burke for North Queensland passed the ball. He was late. We've seen later hits, but if that's the standard, that's the standard, and I'm going to try and remember that for sure. So this game, it had approximately 33 errors. It was up in Cairns. It was the first hit out for a number of players in a number of months. And yeah, it was a bit hard to watch at times, and it would have been pretty bad if I wasn't, a North Queensland Cowboys supporter. If you were a Rabbitohs supporter, yeah, it probably would have been a fairly ordinary watch. However, this is my summation of the first half. I thought in the first half, North Queensland's attack was not adventurous, and I thought, there's not really a whole lot happening here. We did get some momentum for Jake Burke to go over and score a try, where he weaved inside the defensive line of South Sydney and scored the first try. And then our second one to Jordan Lipp came off the boot from Jaden Hodges, who weaved his magic as bowled the South Sydney Rabbitohs player, and Jordan Lipp bounced over and scored a try in the corner. And then in the second half, I thought our attack was a lot better. It still took a bit of time to warm up to the task, but it got there. Dejan Arce, Jake Burke, well, I don't think they were very good. I thought Jake Burke and Dejan Arce warmed up to the game quite well with their attack. The kicking game left a little bit to be desired, but they're not going to be our first string selection players anyway for season 2022. There was a lot more depth in the second half, especially from right to left, where young Iosefo could have been the one to score the try, but instead we saw the backside of young number 17, where he scored the try from a really from a nice pass and a nice set play as well. There was also There was also the try towards the end of the second half where Zach Laybutt scored a nice try as well for himself. Defensively, I thought they got up in the face of South Sydney. I thought that's where we won the game. I thought we really got our shoulders into a man, and that's exactly what I wanted to see. And I said on Nick from Australia's late night show or rugby league breakdown podcast recently that if we can keep South Sydney to 16 points, I'd be happy. Well, we kept them to 12 points, so we did pretty well, even though, keep in mind, it was South Sydney, in my opinions. I don't mean any disrespect to the Rabbitohs supporters. I think it was their third string team up against a second string team. And yeah, I thought the defense was really good at times, actually. They really swarmed and got the shoulders stuck in to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. So hoping, and of course they would have, hoping the first graders, the fair income players for North Queensland have sat back and gone, right, well, that's a pretty nice standard, and now let's try and meet that and then beat it and then evolve from it. Yeah, so I thought between attack and defense, I thought defense was actually the standout for North Queensland today. Now, speaking of standouts, these are some players I want to rattle the names of because, wow, my man of the match was Jaden Hodges. Now, Josh Chudley hadn't played in a Cowboys jersey for a number of years, and then he came off. Now, he made a couple of runs and a couple of good tackles as well, so he wasn't bad, but he just got substituted for Jaden Hodges. And Jaden Hodges, when he came on, my goodness, he kicked a 40-20 in the second half. He saved a try. His attack was weaving, it was conniving. There wasn't offloads, and that's the other thing too. There weren't many offloads from North Queensland, but there didn't really need to be because of the attack from Jaden Hodges, who in my opinion was the man of the match, and he was also responsible for putting the ball to boot and getting Jordan his try in the first half. I thought Jaden Hodges was immense. Speaking of immense, Griffin Neame started the game with jersey number 10 on his back. He played half an hour. That was it. That's all he needed. He put on one of the shots of the weekend so far. He got stuck in, and I've just got the numbers here. So how many did he go? So he hit the ball up for about 7 runs, played the entire first 30 minutes without a break. And his defense was ferocious. His attack was good. Griffin Neame, man, would be my runner-up for man of the match. At fullback, Tom Chester was everywhere this afternoon. Approximately, he ran the ball for about 10 times, 11 times throughout the match. He was involved in a play before Jordan Lipp's try that really got us scything down the middle and towards the in-goal area. If his hands just proved to be a little bit more better, he could have scored a try himself in the second half. Todd Payton said Tom Chester was easily the best player for the Cowboys Young Guns last week in the loss to the Northern Pride, and today he was close to being the Cowboys man of the match in this trial game. I thought he was really impressive. There is a injury concern. I think it is just going to be a burner, but fingers crossed. Emre Pere, who started the game, the other forward with number 8 on his back, he was impressive too. Emre Pere made a total for 8 runs. His defense was good, but he had to come off in that second half, I think it was, just hopefully with just a burner towards the shoulder. And I want to make mention of Latia Mothed Drakey. He ran the ball up probably more times than anybody else on the North Queensland side. He made about 13 to 14 runs, put himself in the frame every time we had the ball. I think he must have had 2 carries in one set 2 times sort of thing. He really pressed the go button today. Benjamin Condon in the second half, I thought he proved to be that leader. I wouldn't be surprised if he was the captain. But I think Dejan Arce was our captain to start off the game anyway. But I thought Benjamin Condon showed some really good leadership as well. Connolly Lemuelu, I thought he started kind of slow to start off the game, and it was him obviously trying to find himself in that second row where he's never really played before. And the longer the game went, credit where credit is due, man. I said, look, I don't know how it's going to go, but credit where credit's due. Connolly Lemuelu definitely busted some tackles, threw the hand out and said, no, you're not tackling me right now. And I believe he set up a player for a try as well. And I got to give the man his due. Andrew Nico is his name. Once he came onto the field for Asefo Bairowiki, he came on and he was really good, man. He scored a try for himself, had his pants pulled down as well. No, he was good. So all in all, man, I thought at times the Cowboys' defense didn't look trustworthy, but that's probably because we're coming off a 15th placed 2021 season, so I guess I'm going to be naturally nervous about how their defense is going to go. But all in all, man, I'd probably rate the Cowboys' performance today a 7.5 out of 10. I don't think there was a bad player. No, there wasn't a bad player on the field for North Queensland. And they did a really good job. So, yeah, really impressive. That's a really nice building block, and now we're just going to evolve from there. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. My name is Sam. I hope I've convinced you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And if you already have, thank you so much for the continued support as always. Footy season's just around the corner. Expect a whole lot from me coming in the next couple of weeks. Take care, everybody. Adios.